Welcome to Reality NSFW. I'm your host, Lauren Pratt, along with my awesome co-host, Alex Trias. We are back to recap episode number 3 of the challenge, Double Agents. And once again, it definitely delivered. It was another great episode, and it brought us to an interesting matchup there in the crater at the end. So, Alex, how are you feeling about tonight's episode?
Not as much went down this episode as the first two. The first two were just so jam-packed with the challenges and the drama. This one, while we did have a big portion of the show that designated for the actual mission, I think it was carried by the drama.
Oh, absolutely. Whenever you have an episode with Josh popping off, you know that there's going to be some drama and there's going to be some laughter by other people that are in the house. And that is definitely what happened. And honestly, you have someone like Devin who he's not going to quit, and he's going to make sure that he can instigate as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those who complain about seeing Josh on their screens, why is he there? Why does he keep getting brought back? This is why. You need people that go on the show that provide entertainment of any kind that causes a big reaction out of someone, whether it's good or bad. So in that department, Josh definitely excels in. In others, not so much, but we'll get into that.
Absolutely. So last week was a big, epic episode at the end in terms of partner switch ups. So let's dive right into that.
Yeah, so main storyline there is we now have Kyle attached to Cam, and we have Big T with CT. They're now Big CT.
Honestly, I loved it. And I think Big T is the best for CT just because I think she's going to bring so much life out of him. She's a very, very calm player, but she's also super likable in the house as well.
Yeah, I think they even CT even mentions it, and Big T. They think they'll balance each other out. With CT obviously being a dominating presence for challenges, and Big T with the social game and helping create that positive atmosphere around him should help him stay relatively calm, or help bring him back to a calm level, like we see later in this episode when he gets into his argument with Josh.
I have to say, though, when Big T asked CT to see his smile and just the grin on his face, it was not a good smile at all, but it led for some comical moments. And then we get to the nicknames. We have the Hawk and the Fuzzy Bunny.
The Fuzzy Bunny, and he's going to be the best Fuzzy Bunny, and he's going to wear that name like a badge of honor.
I mean, come on. I enjoyed the nicknames. I think it's great for them to have that relationship as a pair, because we see some pairs that are vaguely working with each other, whereas CT and Big T are a pair that I think wants to be in it with each other for the long haul.
Yeah, and what you're going to see in stuff like this is you have teams like CT and Big T who I don't think you're going to see them win that many missions, but like you said, because they want to be with each other and work with each other, they're going to be more cohesive. And where you have the teams that are winning, not necessarily wanting to be attached to each other. Like Anissa wants to be with Fessy. Fessy doesn't necessarily want to be anchored to Anissa. And you have, like say what you want, but Nani and Josh, they want to work together. So that's going to help them out, as opposed to now what we see later in the episode with Devin's decision with who he picks. That's just going to be made for disaster.
Yeah, also we see as well with a team such as Leroy and Casey, they're kind of both playing their own game. So it's really difficult to have a partner that definitely disagrees with you, and you might not be able to share all the information you want to share with them because you can't 100% trust that they're going to benefit your game in the long run. And that's why I do feel we are going to see potentially many, many partner switch ups throughout this entire season.
I agree. Just from the nature of this season, like if I was on this show, if I was with someone that I didn't want to be paired with, I had more incentive to say, hey, give me a shot. Let me get down there, or send my partner down there. And if they lose, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Get me a new partner. I would be constantly trying to move around and pick my time to go in as smart as possible so that I can select the best partner for me for the final if I can get to that point.
Now, do you see a scenario where Big T last week somewhat wanted Joseph to go in and wanted a new partner and everything? Do you think there's anyone else on this season that would be willing to set up their partner to get their partner put into an elimination and to see them go home so they can get the trade up?
Well, spoiler alert, Tori. I think there's going to be several people that are going to get to that point where they try to break off from the partner. Like you see Cam mention it today at the beginning of the episode when discussing about her partnership with Kyle. If she wants that partnership to work, she needs Kyle to listen to him or listen to her. And if she doesn't see that and doesn't see that reciprocation, she's not afraid to go down there. Like I said, get that gold skull and find someone else and go bye Felicia.
This is a season where you definitely have to be able to adjust on the fly because the game is so fluid, which brings us to one of the dumbest moments from tonight in Fessy.
There was a lot of dumb moments, but yeah.
But one of the dumbest moments with Fessy and what he ultimately decided to do, which was reveal right smack dab in front of everyone that he was able to see the votes.
Yeah, he wants to explain why he chose Kyle, which, is a double part of what made it a bad move. By picking Kyle to go in and Kyle winning, now he has to go and explain why did he pick Kyle. Whereas if Kyle lost to Joseph, maybe he could have more of a chance to lie and just say, hey, I just did not vibe with him. He did not come across as genuine when he was telling me what he did. And I can't ride with that. I'd rather have a known enemy than that. That's how he should have done it. Because Fessy knows he can't work with Wes. Wes knows he can't work with Fessy. But by being able to direct it that way, you at least mitigate it and also have the chance to hide your power more. But it goes into part 2 of this where they reveal all that. And now their alliance is mad at them. Because why are we the last to know? You should have told us. If we were working together, you would have told us so that we know and that we have a heads up.
That's what I said on the first week. I said Fessy and Anisha should come clean and go to at least not all of your allies, but the closest allies. Explain to them, hey, we need to keep winning these challenges so we can get in and see where the votes are falling to keep this a secret as long as we possibly can. Potentially, because it ends up backfiring because they didn't reveal it to anyone, so no one knew about it. It was a complete blindside. And then you have people that thought that they were close with Fessy or thought that they were close with Anissa. Now they're thinking, can I fully trust you because you couldn't come clean to me with a piece of information that is so crucial with this season of the challenge.
Yeah, and it sort of goes with to wrap this segment up with what Kyle mentions while he's blowing up on Fessy. We go into confessional going, no one has won this game by telling the truth. And it's sort of a theme for this episode because you have people that lie to their friends and friends in quotes and backstab people to get ahead. And you have people saying, well, I was able to win games by being honest and straightforward when they weren't, but that's the theme that they were going with. And it's true. You can't be 100% honest in these games and expect to get to the end and win. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to betray people to get ahead. This is a selfish game. And you have people like Leroy and Fessy saying, yeah, you know what, this season I have to be selfish. It's just how you do it.
Right, and they're saying those things as well because in seasons past, not regarding Fessy, but regarding Leroy, he hasn't been selfish. He's been looking out for his buddies as long as he possibly can, and it's bitten him in the ass, and he hasn't had that chance where he can really shine. He allows his other allies to shine, but ultimately he gets the raw end of the deal time and time again. So he's coming into this season saying, you know what? I've helped my friends long enough. I'm going to do what's best for me and what's going to ultimately get me that win that I've been craving for so many years.
And you know what? And I know people are going to be being like controversial takes on Leroy saying whether it was a good decision or a bad decision for who he ended up targeting this week. But you're right. He's always been the go-to alliance person. Like if you want someone who's loyal to the soil from day one and is able to work with you, get both of you to that final, Leroy's your man. But he doesn't have Bananas here this time. And I've said before, when Bananas isn't on a season with Leroy, I think Leroy is more duplicitous. Like he has more of a cutthroat nature of, yes, I have people that I'm going to rock with, but I'm not afraid to put someone into elimination. I'm not afraid to go into elimination and take that person out myself. So I think we're going to get that full Leroy this season. He says it's his last season, so it's going to be no holds barred.
Absolutely. And if you're coming into the season like Leroy is, he wants to be able to ultimately get that win that he has long been trying to get.
Yeah. And you know what? That gets us over to we get ready for the mission. The green lights are flashing. They get driven up. While they're getting driven up, we get a confessional from Devin talking about his working relationship with Nicole. While he did call her an incredibly fit infant in the last episode, he sees it as the perfect yin to yang. He brings the brains and the smarts while she brings that brawn and physical strength. And together they could be a really good unit. We will see about that.
He did say, though, that we are English and whatever Nicole speaks. So he did still get his dig in.
Well, that's Devin for you. You can't say anything without getting a dig in on someone.
That's a very true statement. Devin is definitely known to be someone that is going to speak his mind, and he doesn't hold back, and he's not afraid of controversy, and he likes to instigate people, which brings entertainment to the show. You have to have people on the show such as Devin because he always is able to deliver it in his confessionals.
Yep, absolutely. With that, everyone's waiting for TJ, and in the distance, they see something coming up, and it's this giant freight truck coming in red hot. TJ comes out, and they're saying he loves his physical challenges, and that's exactly what today is. The mission is called Roadkill, and 2 teams from random selection will face off on top of the truck while the truck is running at 50 miles per hour. And the objective is to push the other team off of the truck as fast as you can. Fastest team to do it will win and become the double agents.
I really enjoy all the physical challenges, and that is exactly what TJ enjoys as well. And I feel as though this gives people opportunities to show their strength because some people are very underestimated. People have a lot more bite and they're willing to fight. And we saw that in this challenge because people that I thought, once we see matchups, I thought they were going to be toast in a matter of 5 to 10 seconds, but a lot of them put up an excellent fight. And it was good to see because some people are so underestimated and they just get tossed off to the side as if they're nobody, but everyone here pretty much fought really hard and was trying to make a statement on their end.
Yeah. So to be clear, they have 2 canopies off the sides. TJ says there's nothing on the back. So if you get pushed off the back, you're landing on the ground. I think the biggest obstacle here isn't necessarily doing the brutal strength of this, but handling the speed of the truck, because you can be as strong and fit as you want, but if you can't handle moving around while going at that speed, someone who's a little scrappy and considered an underdog could get the upper hand and outsmart you.
Now, when TJ announces that there's going to not be a harness or anything, at that moment watching the episode, did you think there was going to be anyone that was going to bow out?
I didn't think anyone was going to bow out, but I expected injuries, and boy, did we get them.
Yep, we definitely get some injuries here, and it's simply just because the way your body's being pushed and moved around, and not going to lie, the landing inside the net, it's a pretty deep landing, so if you land poorly, you're going to get injured, and if someone falls on top of you, they can fall on top of you at the wrong spot. So we definitely are going to see some injuries, but we will talk about that once we get to each specific matchup. And we will basically start with the first one that we get, which is Devin and Nicole versus Cam and Kyle.
Yeah, so you really it's more of a focus on the 2 ladies, Cam and Nicole, talking about how they're not scared of their competition. Nicole saying, yes, I'm built. Cam may have a little more size on me, but I think I can manage. Both teams end up timing out, but in that process, you do see where Cam's trying to still compete, and Nicole's like, no, stop. Like, something's wrong. And you see her one arm is just dangling. She's trying to compete with one arm. And it comes to the conclusion, looks like her bone popped out, like shoulder completely dislocated and separated. So she gets taken off on an ambulance, and we're left to assume, is she going to be back and able to compete or what?
They got a really great shot of her arm
It was
and her
brutal.
shoulder. It was brutal the way it looked. Just you could see that it was completely out of place. There's no way of hiding it. And as Nicole always does, she takes it like a champ. She's someone that is super fiery, super into the challenges, and she was ripping that helmet off saying, "How do I get back in the game?" Because she's a fighter and she's someone that is willing to do whatever she can to win. And I will say, in terms of matchups, because they are random matchups, I feel as though that one in particular was pretty even on both sides.
I feel for the most part, they did a pretty good job of getting mostly even matchups. Obviously, you can't have even across the board. It's just not possible with how the teams are made up. But yeah, you can tell by both of them timing out. It doesn't help that you're the first group to go, so you don't you're not going to see much with a truck going 50 miles per hour away from you, but you at least get like some sort of idea on how to move around. Whereas they had to go first, so they are the test dummies, and they both time out. So we go on to the second group, and that's Natalie and Wes versus Nani and Josh. And man, does this start the trend that has been on previous seasons, but we're going to make it more of a thing here. And it's Josh asking to replay the footage and being incorrect.
Yes, Josh essentially thought that he won against Wes, and I will give Wes credit. Wes outsmarted Josh here because he knew what the rule was. It was the last person to have their feet or a part of their body touching the structure before falling down, and Wes was able to do so, therefore getting that win against Josh. And you know how Josh is. He always feels as though he's in the right, and when he asked for that footage to be replayed, boy, is he wrong time and time again.
And we'll get to that because it happens again later this episode. But so we see Wes does win. He keeps his toes on, like he says, just so amazing, just like the best wide receivers in the NFL. I outsmarted him while all he wanted to do was try to beat me up. Then Natalie wins with a strong effort from Nani. Nani goes, if I'm going down, I'm making sure that she goes down with me. It just so happens that Nani did not touch it as long as Natalie did.
I commend Nani. She put up an excellent fight there. And Natalie, I don't feel as though she was ever necessarily struggling. I felt she felt comfortable, but I think Natalie thought she was going into that and was just going to toss Nani off the side and have an easy win and just still be standing up there and not fall into the net at all.
So this sort of brings up a theme, and we'll even see it with the next one. So if you're the undersized person, you want this matchup to end up on the ground to be mat wrestling, because once you get down and you're like interlocking with your opponent's arms and legs and thereby, and you're keeping it low, that's your wheelhouse. That's your center of gravity. If you're weaker or if you're smaller, you go down low and force them to come down with you. Because if you're playing up, that goes to their strengths where they can just do more brute force shoulder tackle, more of a football style like you see with Fessy and CT at the end. But,
right. Yeah. If you're someone that's just standing on your feet the whole time and there's a bigger person that you're going against, they can easily scoop you up and just start pushing you and shoving you across the edge, versus when you are lower, you can get at their ankles, get them onto the ground with you and just hold on. The only problem with that is if you are holding on, eventually they might be able to drag you if you do not get them to the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see that with this next group. It's Amber B and Darrell versus Gabby and Leo. Gabby beats Amber, sort of flips Amber over her as they both tumble over. Because what people need to remember, if they don't know about Gabby, Gabby is a personal trainer. Like she is physically fit. Amber's fit too. Like, don't discredit Amber, but Gabby, Gabby impressed me with her ability to outmaneuver her. And then you have Leo, the professional wrestler, wrestling against Darrell, who's a beast. So I was sort of happy that they timed out because I feel like that gives Leo some respect from Darrell and some of the old guys for being able to go head to head with him. So, I was impressed with that matchup.
I feel as though Leo is someone that is respected in the house simply because of what he did at the beginning, showcasing his strength. So I do feel as though people noticed that and feel that Leo is someone to look out for. Yes, he's small, but as we talked about, he's good at getting low. He's smart with his movements. And if you can outsmart someone with your movements, you have a good shot at winning, even if you're going up against someone that's bigger than yourself. However, I will say Gabby did pretty much just toss Amber B. I think in this challenge in particular, Amber B was probably the weakest female.
No. With that matchup, yes. The weakest female was Big T.
Well,
because Big
yeah,
T rarely gets thrown off by Anissa. Anissa's like one of the only people to eliminate someone while still standing upright.
Well, yes, that's fair, but I think Amber B. You want to know what? I would have loved to have seen Amber B go against Big T because I think Big T might have come on top with that matchup.
Honestly, I love Big T. The physical stuff isn't about Big T. It's like that's not me discrediting her. I'm just saying amongst the Amber B is a fit woman. Like Big T's also fit, but I think Amber, as long as she was able to get low, I think she could push Big T off too. Because as Anissa says, Big T doesn't know how to fight.
That's true. Big T's never been in a fight before. And Amber B did mention to us that she did used to play rugby. So you have to be able to be scrappy in order to
you have
play
to
that.
be very scrappy. I've seen rugby matches. I've seen people out of the gate bust their face open, shove tissue paper up their nose that's bleeding, and go back in and keep playing. Like you have to have that type of mentality to play rugby. So I give her more credit than I guess other people are.
But which I was surprised then. If she played rugby, I feel as though Gabby handled her extremely easy.
Like I said, though, I think Gabby had an advantage in this because she was a personal trainer and she did a dance. Like that's all about balance and knowing how to maneuver your muscles in that regard to stay balanced. And when you're on a moving truck, balance is key. So I think she was able to outbalance Amber and position herself where she could flip Amber over.
Yeah, that's very true. And honestly, I can't discredit any of the women on this season because I feel as though this is one of the strongest casts of women that they've ever had in challenge history because everyone there is capable of stepping up, fighting hard, and doing what they need to do to win the challenges. And I honestly think that, yeah, we have some of the weaker people here, but don't underestimate them because there are some people in this group that could potentially, if they get to a final, have the strength to be able to get through it and win because a final's sometimes all about endurance and heart too, because that's the one thing about Big T. She has a lot of heart and a lot to offer. And sometimes people get into a final and they're not mentally in it. So it's all about being able to stay mentally checked in, knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are, and being able to ultimately push through. So I feel as though anyone on this season that's left now does have a legitimate chance of potentially winning now that Joseph is gone.
Okay, get your digs in on Joseph because I'm not talking about him anymore. We now have the shortest round that I can talk about for 5 seconds. Nam versus Lola, Nam and Lolo versus Teresa and Jay. Lola and Nam win decisively. That's my notes.
Okay, they do win decisively. However, Teresa, I thought she was at least going to get tossed to the side rather quickly, and she put up a little bit of a fight.
Yeah, she did put up a little bit of fight. She showed some scrappiness. Lolo gave her props, but like Lolo said, we all know who was in control there, and then you just see Lolo dump her. And then you see Nam dump Jay.
Absolutely. The quickest one, but we knew that was going to happen. When you saw the matchup, there was no way in my mind I was thinking, oh, Nam and Lolo, they're in trouble. No.
I was honestly a little surprised that they weren't the ones to win, just because I know it's editing, but from how we were viewing it, it looked just so much more faster how they handled business. But we go on to the next one, which has the next injury. So we have Tori and Corey versus Liv and Michi. Michi wants to prove himself. He wants to show everyone, hey, yeah, I'm 150 pounds soaking wet, but I can still hang with the big boys. And he does beat Corey when they're rolling over the side. He's the last person to touch on the top of the truck, so he beats Corey. Tori beats Liv, but on the way down, Liv, initially they think it's the shoulder, but it's really an elbow injury, and she is in shock.
Yep, and that's exactly what I noted with seeing the nets and seeing how far the fall actually was, because like I said, if you land wrong, you're going to injure yourself. And we see Tori there asking, hey, are you okay and everything? But then she clips into confessional and goes, I feel bad, but not really that bad.
It's a little hard for me to interpret what she's saying. Her accent's pretty thick. But yeah, she sort of has like, I think I'm going home. Like, and once I hear that, I'm like, well, she's not going home immediately. Because once you hear someone saying that, it's sort of like that red herring of, oh my God, we just saw Nicole go. Now Liv's go. Are we going to lose 2 female in one episode? What's going to happen? Is it going to be a guy's elimination now? So it's more leaving questions open as they go into the break. We do see later on that Liv does come back, but we don't know for how long because they said it's sort of going to take a day before they truly know if it's an elbow fracture or something that's more manageable and that she can continue.
Here's the thing, though, even if it is more manageable, it's such a liability because as we just saw, a lot of challenges are physically demanding. So if your arm is not 100%, that is such a detriment. Mm-hmm. And it's also a detriment to your partner as well. So I think that whether Liv is going to stay or not, it's going to be a huge issue on her end because she's not going to be able to perform at top quality. And therefore, I feel as though she might just be someone that they toss in right away. And that's a way for someone to get an easy gold skull potentially, unless the challenge is a mental challenge. Therefore, it could be a close call. But anything physical, I would throw her in because you're going to win. And she might not even be able to participate in that.
True. I do love, though, that I like her poise. I like how she's not afraid to say stuff. But I love the shade that she was throwing at Tori, where she was like, she's with a potentially fractured arm and going, I thought Tori was going to be stronger. I wasn't impressed. I loved it. It's just like, no F's given. She says it how she feels.
Yeah, she was throwing shade, and that's what we love in confessionals because that's the thing. You want people on the show that are going to be exciting and actually tell you how they're really, truly feeling. And that's what she did. She delivered, but we do see her come back in the house, like you said, but we need to wrap up the rest of this challenge.
Yep. So we got Leroy and Casey versus Nelson and Amber. Lauren, got a question for you. Did you know Casey did tackle football?
Did I know that Casey did tackle football? I don't know. I haven't heard it on a million podcasts.
Like, I think production goes, Casey, can you please say before every challenge, what did you do before you joined the challenge and did Big Brother? Oh, I did tackle football. Okay, can you talk about that? But it made sense for this one. Finally, like some of the other ones didn't make as much sense to talk about what your profession was. This one made sense just because it's that physical nature and being from that profession that goes to her strengths, and you saw it. She was able to deal with Amber easily. Leroy and Nelson get a little scrappy, but Leroy wins handily as well. Then we go to
I will add about Casey though. She is such a strong competitor, and I truly am happy she's on this season because she might not deliver necessarily in the confessionals, but if you're looking for people that are going to be constantly super strong and are able to perform well, you need some of those people to balance out the others that are able to give it in confessionals. And that's why I appreciate the casting this season on the challenge, because they brought people that have their strengths in terms of being the narrator, giving what the audience wants in the confessionals, but then you also have the people that are able to showcase their abilities to be strong, to be forceful in challenges. So the balance is really good this season.
Yeah. So like, I just want to put the record straight as well. I'm a big Casey fan.
Yes.
Like, does she blow up the DRs? No, no.
Mm-mm.
But that's not her. Like, what I like about her is that she's authentic to herself. Like, she's not hamming it up for people unless she's like yelling, "Let's go," because that's her thing. But I like that she's thinking, and that she's planning a game. She comes across as, I keep my cards close to my chest and I will reveal what I want to reveal, but I'm not going to tell you the whole thing. And she has that physical strength to her as well. I think she could be a mainstay for the women as long as she wants to keep coming back.
I agree. She's not there to play a character. She's playing, that is who she is, being genuine to herself. She's not changing anything about her, and she's going to continue to do these challenges each and every time that way. Whereas sometimes you see people come back and they want to be a different person. With her, I don't think we'll ever see that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And then we get to the last matchup. The contestants call it the heavyweight. It's the main event. And we got in this corner fighting CT and Big T. And this corner fighting Fessy and Anissa. Oh, it's CT versus Fessy. Everyone wants to know who's the big dog. Fessy wants to say big dog every other word. Big dog, big dog, big dog. It's a big dog. I want to be the big dog. They timed out. But we get the hilariousness of Anissa describing how Big T doesn't know how to fight. Big T reminds me of my grandmother. Nicest woman ever. Has never made a fist in her life. She's the type of person who, if she wanted to make a fist, she wouldn't know how. She'd probably end up with her thumb in the fist and break her thumb trying to punch someone. Like, that's how Big T comes across, because she's so bubbly and positive. Like, who would ever get into a fight with Big T? And who would Big T ever try to fight?
Absolutely nobody. That is the answer to that question. But I did find it comical with Anissa, because you could hear when she would say in confessional, I don't want to hurt her or anything. So I feel as though we don't necessarily know, because of editing, if that truly was the last matchup. I'm not completely sure.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was, Anissa saw so many people already get injured before going against Big T. So I think Big T lasted on the platform longer than she probably should have. I feel as though Anissa was a little more gentle with her. And I think that was a mistake because of what we see end up happening. I feel as though you have to. I know the two guys time out and everything, but in that situation, she doesn't know that they're going to time out. So you want to get her over as quickly as you possibly can.
Well, do you think in Anissa's mind, because she wasn't the one who revealed about the secret vote, and maybe she'll say this on her podcast about her thoughts on the challenge or the mission, but do you think a part of her was thinking, even if Fessy did beat CT and Ghetto, maybe because all that's revealed, she wants to try to go back into the background, fade back in for a little bit, and not have the big target on their back for winning another one? Because like even TJ makes the joke at the beginning, or will Fessy and Anissa just win again? Maybe she wasn't going as hard because, one, she likes Big T, and two, maybe she didn't want to be in that power position for a third straight time.
Well, here's my thought process, because say that was a female elimination round, I think that Anissa wants to make it a point and make it known that she's here to compete this season. So Anissa could be someone that wants to actually put herself in and go for that skull as quickly as possible, because people thought going into this that she was a layup. And if she's truly here to prove herself, I feel as though if she got the win again and had the opportunity to go and earn her skull, I think she would have done it.
Well, here's the thing with that, because I'm just thinking about what would happen. Say Anissa gets that power position. Her alliance still main objective is, let's get Wes out. So does Anissa want to go against Natalie? No. More times than not, Anissa's not going to want to go against that. She's going to want that pick one of the rookies to go against. But why would the rest of the alliance and the other people in the house just go, okay, we'll let you get your skull, Anissa. We'll vote who you want to go in. Like if they want to throw me in, okay, then I'll get my skull. That's your loss either way. Either way, you're not the one going down there if you're the one in power.
Here's the problem with that strategy then. If your alliance is always going to want to put their specific people in that they want in, you may never have an opportunity to go and earn your skull. Because
Yeah.
if you don't see a matchup that you like, you're going to keep sitting out, which you can't do. TJ has reminded everyone time and time again, there are only 10 skulls in this game. And if you continue to wait around and you don't go in and try and go for it, you may never have an opportunity to go for a skull. So I feel as though eventually people need to start getting greedy and need to start thinking about themselves and going in to have a shot at it. How would you feel if you went out of the challenge knowing that you had opportunities to go in, and then it came to that point where you didn't get that opportunity and you just got sent home?
Well, here's the thing. Everything, there's calculated risks there. At this moment, a lot of people like Anissa, veterans in this game, they would prefer to be able to organize their, we saw people slap Joseph's hand about this. Joseph was trying to plan out his elimination. Like, if it's this, I want to be the one in and I want to be against this person. And you saw the veterans say, that's not how it works. You can't guarantee that if I get the power position, they're going to put a weak person in that I want to go in so that I can get my skull. Because everyone is, even though you're in an alliance, you're all self-interested. You're all inherently selfish and want to be the one to get the skull yourself or get someone else out that you want out.
But you did
can't
just
guarantee,
say,
like, what if they put in Lolo and Nam? Anissa wins for whatever reason. They put Lolo and Nam in because they were rubbing people the wrong way. Is Anissa going to go in against Lolo?
no, she's not. But you did just say that Anissa wants to organize who she's going to go up against. And we're just talking about no one's going to let anyone organize who they get to go up against to earn that skull. So at some point, you have to take your chance. And I'm not saying that the timing now is necessarily anything that has to happen, but eventually you really do have to start thinking about that, especially since we are seeing partner switch ups.
Yeah. Like I said, all of it's calculating risks and knowing when it's your time. Just because TJ is yelling at you going, there's only 10 skulls. There's only 7 skulls now. 4 for the women, 3 for the guys. You have to make a call. We all know there's going to be opportunities to steal someone who has a skull. So I'm going to sit back, reflect on what I think my best timing will be. And you won't know that really until it happens. But you could try to plant the seeds to get it orchestrated. And you sort of see it tonight with Devin, but we'll get into that. So we get the results. Everyone has competed, and TJ says only 3 teams are eligible to win because they were the only ones to get for both of them to win. And that was Lolo and Nam, Wes and Natalie, and Leroy and Casey. Before TJ revealed the answer, who did you think was going to get the win there?
I honestly thought that Lolo and Nam had a strong case to win, and I thought they put their people in pretty quickly. So I wouldn't say I was confident that they were going to win, but definitely thought that they would be the front runner. Honestly, I really wanted to see them win because it's just interesting to see people that it is their first season playing and what their thought process truly would be when they are in power. Because then you have people that you might not have necessarily been slightly working with come to you, pitch why you should help them out, and then you're actually able to garner some more allies. So they were a team that I actually wanted to see win this just so we could see it play out.
So that's a funny thing because you see it a little bit initially. We don't know about Lolo, but based off the bed structure, they get back to the house and Wes, Kyle, and Devin are all talking. But who else is in there? You have Michi, Leo, and Nam.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all, from perspective, I'll have to go back and see who all voted who. But at that moment, you sort of saw they were actually somehow managing to flip the rookies back over to them and try to make a move.
Any chance Wes gets an opportunity to talk with some rookies and try and swing them on his side, he's going to do so. And the funny thing about it is we have the Leroy and Casey win, and we touched on this a little bit earlier. They are partners, but what one person wants isn't necessarily what another person wants. So they're slightly working with each other, but at the end of the day, they're looking what's in their best interest. And we'll get into that a little bit once they do view the deliberations together.
Yep. And before we get into the rest of what was going on in the house when they got back from the mission, we're going to take a break and let you hear from some of our sponsors.
Winter's here and it's crazy cold outside. But what you don't know is you should still drink more water. By the time you feel thirsty, it's too late. You're already dehydrated. You can't focus and you feel tired.
Drinking enough water is critical for a healthy lifestyle that you're trying to maintain. It increases your brain power, boosts your productivity. It can prevent headaches and it'll increase your focus. Not only that, it improves your skin and mood, and it can help with your digestion and give you energy. Wow, it also prevents bad breath and can help you lose weight. But how much water should you drink each day? 10 cups? A gallon? The good news is that it doesn't have to be so complicated. That's why I start my day with Hydrant, because Hydrant helps you hydrate faster.
Hydrant has created a refreshing electrolyte powder that you mix directly into water to more efficiently and effectively hydrate your body. It hydrates you quickly and keeps you going for longer. Each rapid hydration mix has the 4 essential electrolytes that your body needs: sodium, potassium, magnesium, and zinc, and it packs a punch to help your body hydrate fast and stay hydrated. If you're looking for that extra boost of energy, there's also Hydrant Plus Caffeine, which contains 100 milligrams of caffeine from green tea. Hydrant is backed by research. The formula was developed by an Oxford scientist. It also is loved by pro athletes, top performers, celebrities, and has thousands of 5-star reviews.
It's made with real fruit juice powder. It's delicious and refreshing, and it comes in a variety of flavors, including iced tea, lemonade, and fruit punch. My favorite personally is the grapefruit. It's a classic and I go back to it. It's delicious. Plus, this stuff is backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't love it, you can send it back for a full refund. You really need to try it for yourself to see what I'm talking about. It tastes incredible and it works.
Well, Hydrant starts at just $1 a packet for a 30-day supply. You save even more with a monthly subscription. And it's so easy to get. We've got a special deal for our listeners to save 25% off your first order. We're not kidding here, folks. 25%. Go to drinkhydrant.com/survivor and enter our promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. That's drinkhydrant.com/survivor and enter promo code SURVIVOR for 25% off your first order. That's drinkhydrant.com/survivor. Enter promo code SURVIVOR to save 25%. And we thank them for sponsoring the podcast. This episode is brought to you by Magic Spoon. Now, oh my God, Magic Spoon was so kind to send me that's really cool bowl. It's like rubbery, it's the coolest bowl of all time. And this rainbowy spoon that is really awesome. And if you think about it, they're called Magic Spoons, so why shouldn't the spoon be totally incredible? Well, here's how incredible all these things are put together. My daughter Piper, turning 13 this month, thinks that is the coolest spoon, the coolest bowl, and as a result, the coolest cereal of all time. I mean, we're talking about a kid that ate the worst cereal ever. And she's now all in on Magic Spoon. I've been on board, the whole time, but to have the rest of the family join in on with me, oh my God, we are a Magic Spoon family.
Man, growing up, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid, so I'm glad Piper's on board. But I've recently had to give it up because I realized it was full of sugar and junk that you just shouldn't eat. I've been trying to cut down on carbs, sugar, unhealthy foods, and I realized I basically can't eat anything anymore. So I've changed up my breakfast routine and I've added Magic Spoon, and it's a game changer, I gotta say.
So, well, with the new year, we're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has amazing flavors that you love, but without all the bad stuff.
Yeah, they have 0 sugar, 11 grams of protein, and only 3 net grams of carbs in each serving. So many of you have asked us, and now you can finally build your own custom variety box and not just go with a pre-scripted one. You can choose from the best-selling cocoa, fruity, frosted, and blueberry flavors, plus brand new flavors including peanut butter and cinnamon.
Hey, it tastes amazing. Honestly, too good to be true. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free. my favorite, absolutely, positively, no contest, cinnamon.
Good choice. Go to magicspoon.com/survivor to build your own custom variety box and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code SURVIVOR to get $5 off your order.
Yeah, Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's magicspoon.com/survivor. Use promo code SURVIVOR. They love it when we do that to save $5 off.
Boom. And we thank Magic Spoon for sponsoring the podcast.
And we're back. So we get back from the mission. Like we mentioned earlier, Liv is back as well. She doesn't know yet the severity of the elbow injury, but Big T, Gabby, and Amber B, who Big T reveals we're sort of aligned together. They're happy to be with each other. And
I love that. I love that group. They're hilarious, and I know we haven't seen as much from all of them, but just seeing the camaraderie that they have with each other is truly refreshing because we don't see that as much with rookie competitors. I know Big T isn't a rookie, but just seeing her amongst those other girls is great.
Agreed. I think, and that could have some reasoning as to why maybe some of the other rookies were leaning a certain way. Like we do know that Big T and CT, I know that for sure, voted against Devin, but we'll get into why that happened. But we noticed, and speaking of Devin, that Nicole's stuff is gone.
Yeah, Nicole's items are gone. They show a little bit of a flashback of her going in to retrieve her belongings. And I got to be honest, I felt bad for her because you never want to see anyone go out on an injury. It's so terrible to see and watch. We do see injuries all the time in the challenge, but people go out there for their families, for their loved ones to make money. And for you to go out that way, it's devastating. And then also just seeing Devin come in, he's super upset about it as well because, yeah, he does his digs and here and there about Nicole, but I truly believe Devin enjoyed being partners with her and knowing that you lose a strong competitor because at the end of the day, Nicole is super, super strong. And you want that as someone that's can help you and be on your team. So I gotta say, I felt bad, and maybe we will see her in a future season. She is a firefighter, so that could be very crucial to her job as well for being injured.
Yeah, shouts to Nicole. I hope that she's doing better now. Hopefully she gets a chance to redeem herself in the future. Well, I shouldn't really say redeem, but get that opportunity again because we know her record. Before this season, she was on 2 seasons, got to 2 finals. And it's a shame that the end of her second final, she had to leave due to an injury. And she has to leave early from this season due to an injury. So it could even be something where she may not get a call again.
And she's the type of person as well that she's not going to be on these seasons time and time again with all the back-to-backs simply because of her job. She has an actual career. Not to say that all these people don't have careers, but some of the career for people is the challenge. That's what they do. That's what they come on to make their money. And you only have a select few people that actually have a real job outside of doing just the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why you don't see some of the more successful ones come back. Because they end up using it, create a platform, and there's better ventures and more money and maybe more happiness and less risk than
Money
going
talks.
on the challenge.
Money talks for people, and if they're able to make money different ways, they're not going to come back.
Yep, exactly. So it gets us to the nightly activities. And to be very clear before we get into all this, we didn't see it, but obviously everyone was drinking. Because you see a little playful fight between CT and KC over microwave pizza. And you know who has a problem with that? Josh. Why Josh has a problem with it? Because KC is his friend, but really it has nothing to do with him.
Josh always butts in when it has nothing to do with him. That is his role. It's been his role time and time again. And I feel as though he does it because yes, he says he's protective of Casey and everything, but it's so bad for the game. He doesn't think before he does this because, yes, you think that you're protecting Casey, but you're actually putting a target on not only your back, but hers as well.
Yeah. Drunk Josh thinks with his heart, he's a very passionate person, and mistakes are made. And, it's another opportunity of have footage play back because he was wrong. Josh goes to CT outside to try to talk about it, and he's calm at this point, where he's just trying to, he wants to stick up for his friend. He thinks CT is wrong, and he's like, "Hey, man, Casey's like crying over this dispute over microwavable pizza. You should apologize." And CT's like, "Dude, come on, you're a child. Just like get over it, get over it." But he ends up going to Casey. He's like, "Casey, are you crying?" And Casey's like, "No, what are you talking about?" And so Josh comes in, has his foot in his mouth. He's like, "No, I didn't say she was crying. I said she was upset." And they get into a stupid, like, honestly, CT shouldn't have made this into an argument either. So he has some wrong there. But they end up in a shouting match. Josh is asking, why is he trying to scream over him? And CT says, because you're so stupid. And they just keep yelling. That's the beginning of Josh talking about how he'll body you. Big T calms down CT, and you see CT in the confessional going, yeah, Josh is just a kid. Like, I shouldn't be doing this. He's a kid.
It was comical to watch. But here's my other thing as well. Do you think that Josh forgot that he told CT that Casey was crying?
Yeah.
Because I feel as though Josh was just trying to get specific words out, and that was what came out of his mouth. And once he said it, he was trying to defend himself that is actually what happened, when in reality it didn't. And everyone in the house is just there getting their popcorn, getting their snacks together, because they know a Josh blowup is coming. And a lot of them enjoy the entertainment, because then you see Devin just continue to instigate. And people are laughing because Devin's funny. Whatever Devin says is funny, and he knows how to push Josh's buttons. And that's the thing with Devin. If you let him go and go, he's not going to stop. And it's Josh's fault as well, because he just keeps trying to go back at Devin. Josh should have just chilled out, relaxed, because Devin is the type of person, if he sees that he's getting under your skin, he's never going to quit. And I feel as though Josh fails to realize that each and every time.
Well, we have to also still take into consideration, most of them were all of them were drunk. Right?
Right.
And when you're drunk, you don't have no one can have full recollection when they're drunk. Because that's what happens. You lose that process of really understanding what's going on around you. That's why when you wake up most times after on a binge, you don't remember what happened, and you have to ask other people what happened. But you still have those feelings. And what's bad about what Devin does, I find it fun seeing just like pick and prod at someone, because that was what he was doing. You had it right on. He was gaslighting and triggering Josh to explode, because Devin at that point was also still reeling over not having Nicole as his partner anymore. He doesn't know what's going to happen, so he's just assuming he has a target on his back. So he's like, okay, I'm just going to make it even bigger. I don't care. And, Josh can get as angry as he wants. There's not going to be repercussions for it with Josh more times than not, because even though Josh calls Devin the layup, everyone looks at Josh as the layup. Josh has not won an elimination. He doesn't show the ability at times to stay calm under pressure. And all eliminations, there's a ton of pressure. And if you aren't collected, you're going to get messed up.
No, for sure. Josh hasn't shown us the ability that he's able to fully compete and showcase to other people in the house that he is someone that they should look at as a strong competitor. Once he does that, then he'll get more credibility in the house. But for right now, no one's scared of Josh. No one says, oh my gosh, Josh, I'm scared. I can't go against him in elimination. No one is saying that. They're all feeling as though he's just someone that is there. He's just there for the time being. Now, in the future, he might be able to win some of these challenges. I don't know that. But for now, no one in the house is feeling as though he's someone that they can't go off and face an elimination.
Exactly. And the cap off his escapades, he concludes his tantrum punching holes in or trying to punch through the wall. You do see there's dents left over the next day. Sort of like, being that drunk person who's like, when you're trying to tell that person to go to bed, like, I don't want to go to bed. It's like being aggressive about it. But what capped all this and just made it a perfect segment, MTV does a great job picking the right songs. And in the background of his tantrum, you had Whitney Houston's So Emotional playing in the background. And I was loving it.
I loved it as well. That is exactly why production, editing, they do a fantastic job because they know what the viewers want. And it also just makes it funnier.
Yeah, exactly. And then so we're heading into deliberation. We're not there yet, but the three teams that seem to be up in the air at this point, you have to assume as a viewer that Wes and Natalie are being targeted by the big alliance still. It's whether are they going to be the house vote or do Leroy and Casey select them? But then, Devin has made himself a big target. So, there's people that are like hesitant there. And you hear that while Wes and Devin create the strategy of, let's throw in Corey and Tori. Like, they betrayed us. Rookies, you don't have any, you're not going to get any heat from voting them. So you sort of see some of them like, yeah, I think we can do this. But Wes makes it a point to say, we still need a few more people to throw it our way. And so they try to do that at deliberation. And Devin just makes it clear, hey, I'm just going to put a vote out there. I'm going to vote for Corey and Tori, put a strong team in there. And Tori just freaks out over it, thinks it's this personal vendetta over a spinoff from Are You the One show that no one watched. So this is pure revenge and hatred now. So she went from liking him to being, oh, you're my worst enemy ever. Oh, go die.
But on Tori's end, you really cannot take that personally because Devin knows he's in the hot seat. He's trying to save himself. Is he supposed to just lay down and die and let himself go in without giving a fight? No. And he thought in his mind that targeting Tori and Corey was what was going to be best for his game. And you can't blame people for that. Honestly, you should take it as a potential compliment that they feel as though that you're a team that is a target and they want to get you in there. And I do say as well, Wes was definitely behind this too because he felt betrayed by Corey. So if you feel betrayed by someone, a lot of the times you want to do payback, and that's Wes's intention there. And the other thing is, when they're going and talking to other people, you have to be able to pitch to those other people why throwing this team in is going to be beneficial for their game. You can't make it all about yourself. You have to come with information and say, hey, this is what's going to help you, and this is going to help you get further. Because if you just go in selfishly trying to save yourself and not give someone a reason that it's going to help them in the long run, they're not going to be willing to work with you.
Yeah. And that's not what Wes and Devin did. Wes tries to phrase it better than Devin did. Wes tries to say, hey, I thought we were friends and we had a thing going. They betrayed me. And if you see that, they're not going to stop at me. They're going to betray you guys as well. So let's avoid the smoke screen and just vote them. And then obviously everyone's pointing it back at Devin. Devin and Josh argue again. So it's round 2. We don't need to go over it because it's the same stuff.
No, I will chime in and say, though, in that one instance with Devin, I feel as though just let it go. It's too much because I feel as though going right into a vote, that could be a turnoff for people.
And it was a
turnoff. Chilled. Yeah.
And you saw it because one of the teams that they thought they needed to get was CT and Big T. And as soon as the bickering starts, you see it immediately pan to CT and Big T and a couple of the other teams, and they're like, hey, this ain't it. Yep. And you see it with the votes. Everyone goes in to vote. I don't have all the votes listed down, but you obviously see a lot of people voting Devin and Nicole. And you see a lot of people voting Wes. You do see Kyle throw a vote onto Fessy and Anissa. There's really no point to that, but I guess he just wanted to make a statement saying they're still on top of my mind.
Kyle's the type of person that once someone comes for him, he's going to just directly go at them. So Kyle's vote will probably be for Fessy and Anissa until he can actually get them thrown in. Unless someone comes to Kyle with this outrageous strategy that he needs to help them go in a different direction, Kyle is someone that holds a grudge and he's going to go after someone that came at him first.
Yeah, absolutely. So winners, the double agents, Leroy and Casey get to go in. They see that the vote was Devin. They're surprised by CT, Big T, and a couple other names on there. So I don't think they really got too much from that. But the big thing and continuation from earlier this episode is Leroy and Casey both saying, I don't know how much I can actually trust information with my partner. So that's just how we're playing. We're going to have to deal with that. But they're definitely keeping stuff from me.
Now, when they were going back and forth about was this person on the screen, was this person not on the screen, I think that Casey might have picked up more people than Leroy potentially did just based on how they were showing it. Because Leroy was asking and Casey was also asking. So maybe she in her mind knew who exactly was there because you see her say, oh, can we get more time? I think she was able to gather most of those faces. Whereas Leroy, I'm not sure if he got as many as Casey did.
Mm-hmm. I think Leroy just figured from what he saw that the people that he thought were going to vote for Devin voted for Devin. And the people who probably voted, I don't know if they get to see the other people's votes as well. They only show us the group that goes in as viewers, but I'm assuming he also thinks, well, then the rest of them voted for Corey and Tori to go in.
That's why you want to be able to fully trust your partner, because then you're able to scan the entire board and confirm with each other who truly was on there.
So this is what I'm thinking there. Like Casey, I think a big part of putting Devin in is in the off chance that it was still designed to be a women's elimination. She could just said, oh yeah, I'm going down there. Oh, look, Nicole's not there. I get to have my gold skull. But I think that was probably a big part of her reason to want Devin there. And that's why she wasn't revealing all of that to Leroy. That's my assumption.
I don't feel as though production would do that. However, it's worth a shot. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they would do it.
Right. If you're thinking on those lines saying, hey, I'm going to take a chance if Nicole's not there and I don't have to go up against someone and I automatically get a gold skull, yay for me. No one really cares how you get it, just as long as you have one, because then you can run TJ's final. So if that truly was her thought process, it's worth a shot. However, we know the challenge well. There's no way they would let that happen, but you never know.
Yeah. So we're about to go to the crater for elimination. Wes decides, I need to try to do one more plea to Leroy and Cam. Dig into them about, we are friends outside of this. We've known each other for so long. We don't need to be against each other. I don't know why we're against each other. Because really in Wes's world, he didn't do anything wrong that caused this. This was all started, or the show is showing us, it's all started from CT not picking Cam. And then Cam has made it her point, I must get the winners, but only CT and Wes because they haven't mentioned Darrell at all out of the game. So, but I felt for Wes there. He's really trying to pull on the emotions of Leroy, though. There's strategy there because he thinks, Leroy is a big old softy. Not that he'll fall for it, but he should see that what I'm saying is correct. Let me work with you instead of us working against each other. But in Leroy's mind, Leroy knows Wes's game. Wes pulls the rookies. He talks to everyone. How can I trust someone who talks to everyone? Because if he's saying this to me, he probably has said it to everyone else already.
I did think Wes's approach in this instance was pretty good, though. He was not trying to make it about himself, where we see that many times with Wes. He'll go in and he's saying all the right things, and then all of a sudden he makes it about himself. Whereas in this conversation, he was trying to hash everything out, make amends, and wanted to truly I actually do think he truly potentially wanted to work with Leroy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, and the thing is, you can't blame Leroy though. He has seen Wes win. Leroy doesn't have a win. So if he wants to get himself to the end and win it, it might not be with Wes this time. And that has to be okay. Yes, Wes might not understand at that moment, but what's Leroy supposed to do? Keep you around just to let you win another final?
Exactly. So that's the thing with if you're competing in these games, you have to have a complex because you want to be the winner. You want to be the narrator of the story, and the narrator of the story is the person who wins. And in Wes's mind, he's thinking, well, yeah, I'm going to be the one to win, but it's a stupid decision for him to want me out because of this. This would hurt his game more than it helps his game, and because of what I can bring to the table. So it's like you have to like spin and do gymnastics in your head that create the scenario of, well, this is why it's actually the smart idea, even though it's not for the long term, but it's great for the short term. So you're sort of like sporadic there of which way do I need to go to convince them that keeping me around is a good decision, even though in the long run, it probably isn't because I have won these before. Doesn't mean he'll win them if he gets to the end, but experience counts.
Yep, and there's so many different avenues that you have to factor in, especially in a season such as this, because most of the time you're battling just to get to the end, and yes, you'll go into eliminations, but there's normally not skulls.
Yep. Yeah. So Wes is still a little frustrated, but he thinks he's got it to the point where he saved himself. Leroy will probably want to go in, get his skull against Devin. He's like, it sucks that my good friend's gonna go, but if I can salvage my game, that's what I have to do. But you see Cam in the background going, Leroy, he may see Wes as a friend, but Wes is a winner. Leroy needs to think long term or think how Cam is thinking. Because as much as people want to rag on Cam, saying, oh, she's being so short-sighted, only targeting the winners because they have won, I think she's making it a purpose because she believes in her and Leroy's abilities if they were to get to a final. And she wants it to be the easiest road possible. So get rid of the ones that are known to win.
Well, Cam is driving the bus in terms of her and Leroy's partnership. And the thing that they could also be considering is this. Eventually, both of them individually going in to get their gold skulls at some point, and then maybe being able to eventually be partners when it came close to the finals. So I know we haven't seen that strategy or the talk about that, but they're definitely talking about, hey, how can we end up maybe linking up where we can run this together? And maybe they don't want to necessarily do that because say you're running with a different partner and Cam's with someone, Leroy's with someone, that gives their chances better almost because then they could win from one of them.
If you're split apart, one win is for the both of them. They're living together now. It's like a marriage. They're not married, but it's like a marriage. What's mine's yours, what yours is mine. If my win is our win.
However, the competitive side out of me would say, I want to win for myself. Yes, I'm with this person. And I feel as though Cam and Leroy both have that competitive edge where they want to be the winner. Yes, they're together, but they ultimately want to be the person that comes out with the win at the end of the day.
What I sort of see with this also, I wonder if heading into this season, Leroy and Cam already talked about Leroy saying, I think this is my last one. Like, I need to be able to move on with my life. I want to win, but this is my last one. So even though, the female winners are gone in Ashley, Cam is making it a priority to get the men gone because she wants to do everything she can do to prop Leroy up for success. Which I think is very, if you look at it from that perspective, I think that's a very noble move by her to pretty much make herself more of a target because she's trying to dictate who can go, but she's trying to do it to better her biggest alliance in the game and outside the game.
Well, you notice as well with Cam, she's not afraid to cut people when she has to. She's worked with some people on past challenges, and she didn't choose to work with them this season in particular. So Leroy has a more difficult time doing that. And I feel as though Cam is getting in Leroy's ear and saying, hey, listen, you need to do what's best for yourself to get to the end this time.
Yep. And it's like what we say, if your friend gets mad at you for going against you and says like, but I thought we were friends, and they end the friendship that way, they weren't your friend. Because you need to know going into this, yeah, I can be friends with you, but if you win, that doesn't mean I win. I'm here to win. If you're not here to win, then what are you doing here?
Yep.
Which for the challenge is get exposure, get your Instagram followers and all that, but that's a different story.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here we are in the crater. Decisions.
So Devin was nominated. Devin goes down. They do say it's going to be a men's elimination, obviously, because Nicole is medically unfit to compete anymore and was sent home. So Leroy has to make a decision. And Leroy has the thoughts, and he does say, I need to play differently this time around. And this person, I respect him, but I just feel I cannot trust him in this game. So Wes, you're going down. Casey obviously agrees, because why make a big fuss over it?
Yeah, no, you don't want to stir the pot at this moment. Even though they don't necessarily agree with each other, she needs to go along with Leroy's wishes right now.
Yep. So that gets us, Wes is very frustrated for feeling that people that he considered good friends betraying him, people getting in their ears, causing paranoia on him. He doesn't understand why. He should understand why, because he's played this game for so long. His game is out there for everyone to see. When you have a reputation, it's hard for you to go back and rewrite history. But Wes is someone who will do his damnedest to try to rewrite history.
Wes is a fighter, and he's someone that's not going to ever give up. So yes, he's ticked off. No. And I know well, I understand, but here's the thing. I think he, might not have been completely with it, but he's not someone that's just going to lay down and die and let someone take him out without giving it a true fight. Do I think he was going to give his absolute best effort? No. And he says that he's going up against one of his best friends. He's been targeted in the house by so many different people. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, Wes is a true challenge competitor.
Yeah, absolutely. But that gets us to our elimination. It's called Snapping Point. The two people are attached together. They're tethered together with rope, and they will run with that rope through some posts and have to hit their detonator on their station to win. And obviously this is a dig deep, who wants it more, because there's not enough rope for you to get all the way there without having to struggle. And you see Wes do the initial strategy that you see often in this, which is usually a successful one of you dig yourself into a hole and you stay stationary within that hole while the other person tries to struggle. Because as they struggle, typically they'll tire out, and you can then gather inch by inch and get the win. But I think Wes truly thought he was not going to go in. This is now the second time he's been blindsided. He's going against his friend. It's like this perfect storm of him just feeling, I just don't think I have it in me to eliminate this guy. I like, there's a lot going on in his head, and you can tell there's a lot going on in his head. But then on the other side, we've talked about Wes enough. We have Devin, who he's there. Like, he's there to fight. He's there to get his goal. He's there to win for his family, for his mother. He felt like he embarrassed himself the last time he was on the show. So he has a big chip on his shoulder to try to prove to everyone and himself, I can compete in this. You may think I'm a layup, but I'm going to prove to you I have more heart than all of you. And it's another case of, you'd see someone like a Kyle, like, heart will win out. And Devin went in with the right mindset while Wes did not.
Yes, Wes doesn't necessarily go in with the right mindset, But once TJ gets them going and starting, your adrenaline has to kick in at that moment. And you just have to go, I'm digging in and I'm fighting as hard as I possibly can. And we see Wes, it clips to him where, yeah, in the confessional, he's feeling bad because Devin is his buddy. He knows Devin's mom's going through so much. And he does state that, yes, he doesn't fully have the heart for it right now. But I still think, even though he's saying that in those confessionals, Devin, honestly, he came in pretty fit for this season. And, like you just said with heart can outdrive strength. And in this instance, Devin came in that elimination. He was prepared to fight. He was also riled up by the situation. Whereas when Wes got put down there, he was frustrated, but he didn't seem as hyped up as Devin was. Devin was like, yes, I'm here to compete. I'm here to prove myself. Wes was just more pissed off, upset, and just felt betrayed.
Yeah. But what I think we're going to see here, because, Devin does eventually win. He gets his tips of his fingers onto the detonator. It explodes. He wins. While, Wes makes his speech about loyalty and all that stuff, there's not much there. He said he's a little hypocritical, saying he never had to betray anyone to get into his wins. I would have to look back on those, but he had to make some snake moves in his games to get there. There's a reason why he has his reputation. It's not his reputation of, I'm loyal to my people, I'm a loyal soldier, and I'll get to the end with you and we'll fight like men. That is not Wes. But
that's classic Wes.
Oh, yeah, it's classic Wes. And Cam
called
them out on that.
Yeah. He's going to say it. He's going to say everything that he needs to say to paint a target on someone else's back as he's exiting, because he's not going to go out quietly. There's other challengers that do the same thing. Yeah, they kind of put their foot in their mouth in the sense of, oh, I never did this to anyone. Well, in actuality, you have. You're just upset. You're going home, and now you're going to paint a target on someone else's back, which for me, I would do the same thing. I'm already going home. Who cares at that moment?
Yeah. And I think we will see this storyline because Corey brings it up of, you know what? I want to see him win because Wes goes home and then Devin's just a nice, juicy layup for one of us to grab the goal. And I think that's going to be a big story this season, is now going to be Devin having to fight for his place in the game constantly. Whenever there's a guy's elimination, he's going to be the one having to fight, and potentially anyone who's attached to him will have to fight, because at this point, we don't know if it's going to be a men's elimination or a female elimination heading into this next one, because everything's even up again. It could be another guy's elimination. So,
right. And I like that, because you want it to be unpredictable. You don't want to necessarily know when it's your time to go in, if you're going to be the person squaring off that night. And I got to give Devin credit here. He won that fair and square. He came into the elimination to fight, and he's on a mission this season. He's not holding back. He wouldn't have came back to the challenge if he wasn't in it to win it. Whereas I do feel as though some people come back to the challenge and don't think they have a chance at winning. I feel as though Devin said, you know what, this is going to be my season. I'm going to give it my all. I have a lot riding on this, and I'm going to fight till the end.
Yeah. And we see his plans start to get in motion, because now he has his power trip and has the option to pick Natalie or infiltrate and steal another female competitor. And he goes, there's two things I know in life, and that's beer and revenge. So I'm stealing Tori. And Tori is legitimately fake crying over being partners with the worst person ever, Devin, who she was just cheering for like halfway through the episode. So Tori trying to make something happen.
It's such a Devin move. That was 100% what he was going to do. He enjoys making chaos. I would have found it interesting if he would have chosen Natalie, because there are two people that would have gold skulls, and maybe they wouldn't be targeted because people might not want to necessarily go up against them in particular right away. But in true Devin fashion, he stirs the pot. He likes to create chaos, and I think he wanted to see how Tori was going to react in that instant.
And I think he loved the reaction that he got. And also, from a strategic standpoint, it muddies the waters more. Because as the big alliance throws the opposing alliance in for eliminations and they win, you're then going to see them keep maneuvering and shifting and breaking apart teams so that, like you said, the eliminations at this point are unpredictable. We don't know the pattern that's going to happen there. If it's going to be a guys and a women's, or is it going to be a women's and a guys? Is it going to keep alternating? What's going to happen? Are there going to be more injuries? We don't know. Is there going to be a pair? There's so much randomness at this point in the season. By mixing up the teams so much and sort of having the two alliances having to be partnered up together, that's when you're really going to see one or both alliances crack further as they have to target each other.
Yep, that's why I'm really enjoying the partner switch-ups, because people are going to have to restructure their alliances and talk to different people, because partners are going to be with someone that they might not necessarily like, and they're going to be working with someone else other than their own partner in the house. So I'm loving it. I think it's going to create some really good television, some really good moments on the rest of this season of the challenge. And we're just getting started. We're only on episode 3, and it's been a great season so far.
Absolutely. And just want to clarify at the end, Natalie's partner is now Corey. Corey's happy because Natalie's fit. A total Corey statement.
Yep, typical Corey statement. He's happy. I think that they could be a strong duo with each other, but we'll see, because as we said, these partners are ever changing, and we're going to see what happens throughout the rest of the season. But yes, that wraps us up tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on Reality NSFW for the Reaction Challenge Podcast, episode number 3. Tomorrow night, Jonny, Zack, and Marie Roda will be live with the Expert Podcast, going through, diving in deeper into this episode and getting some takes on Marie's end, since she knows so many people that are competing on this season of the challenge. So definitely give them a listen tomorrow night when they go live.
Yeah, and if you like what we're doing, please hit the like, click the subscribe button, and click that bell for notifications to know when we are going live and when Jonny's going live. And if you want further content, become a patron for Reality NSFW. Jonny and Zack and Matt do a weekly Q&A for the patrons exclusively. And it's always great content each week. And they're also doing a patron-only coverage of Australian Survivor from 2017, which is one of the best seasons of Australian Survivor that they've done so far. And they do it weekly. And it's such a great podcast. And join the Facebook community.
Yep. And then with that, everyone, have a good night.
Good night, everyone.